Thank you very much, Neera, and thank you, Hale, and thank you particularly for laying out a lot of the issues that are, of course, going to come up today and which we're going to contest and discuss in various ways. I think the title of the conference is interesting, and the structure of the conference, I have to say, I don't have an agenda here in front of me because it seems to be being left out of my pack. But
it is.
anyway, virtually every panel is constructed in a way that presupposes a particular form of debate. And that is by accepting that there are such things as faith communities, that having a religion or a belief necessarily means that you want to engage with the world as part of something called a faith community. And that looking at the issue of secularism, which you very rightly problematized, I think very few of us in the room would simply say that any particular form of secularism is perfect, or that it solves all problems, such as racism. Clearly, it doesn't. So the issue that I think that I want to address is what do we do? Is it a useful concept? And for those of us who do believe it's a useful concept, even though we may go some way towards accepting many of the critiques that Hale made, why do we still believe that secularism is a useful concept? And indeed, it is a foundational concept if we want to deal with issues of inequality, whether they're inequalities around race and ethnicity, or whether they're inequalities generated by attacks on people because of their religious origin and because of their assumed set of beliefs or practices because of a sort of, in other words, a stereotyped image of them. Now, the most interesting discussions that I've had about secularism over a period of many years have been in Women Against Fundamentalism, of which I was a founding member, along with Neera, and there are many friends in the room who've also been part of Women Against Fundamentalism. And the issue for us was precisely at the height of the Rushdie affair, when it was founded in 1989, and when a lot of the debate was about Britain being a secular state and that Muslims were demanding things that they should not be demanding in a secular state. And we precisely pointed out that it's not legally a secular state. It is a Christian state. The Church of England has an established position within the state, and bishops help to make law. And that there is a protection of a blasphemy law against, that people in the Church of England are protected from blasphemy by a blasphemy law. Now, at that moment, there was, of course, a demand to extend the blasphemy law so that the satanic verses could be outlawed and Muslims could make use of it. And precisely on grounds of being offended and hurt by and belittled, various things that you described as happening in terms of speech. Now, our response to that, and of many other people within a civil rights movement, which was much more active then than it is now, civil rights and anti-racist movements, which had an emancipatory idea of equality behind it. And I really welcome what you said about, what are we fighting for when we're fighting racism, and that racism is still a factor that plays out in England, which is being in Britain, and it's not properly recognized. So what are we fighting for when we're fighting for a different vision of equality? Are we fighting for an extension of blasphemy laws and curbs on speech in various ways? Or are we fighting to end discrimination on a series of grounds? And if we're fighting to end discrimination, then are we allying in this country with battles against discrimination and attacks on people on the grounds of their religion and their status in other parts of the world? Are we, in other words, going to join other struggles for equality and look at the role of the British government in either promoting or denying that equality? So let me be more specific about what I mean about some of that. about, well, some months ago, we had Women Against Fundamentalism had a meeting in which was our 20th anniversary meeting, in which we discussed the founding, 21st anniversary, we became of age, discussed the founding of WAF and some of these issues as they played out. And actually, Halle, one of your students, was present at that meeting and came up to me and asked, did I believe that women should be able to interpret their religion? And I think it was a question that came from you. And I sent back an answer via her, which I don't know whether
I did not prompt her.
whether she, well, she came as a student. And my answer was that I think anybody has the right to interpret their religion. In fact, it's a crucial right. That they should be able to problematize, to be able to think through, what the form of their belief is, how they engage with belief, whether they can exit their religion, particularly in a position where many religions are either formally passing apostasy laws or trying to excommunicate people from them if they take up positions against them, such as, for instance, the Catholic Church excommunicating doctors who perform abortions and so on. So there are crucial issues around how religion is interpreted and the rights of people within religious groups to enable themselves to interpret it as they like. But for me, I think, I'm an atheist, and so that is not something that preoccupies me personally greatly. But for me, the issue of having a secular context, and in Britain it may be a secular space, because we don't have a secular state, as we both agree. So it is about the preservation of secular spaces where these issues can be openly debated and not shut down and not attacked. And it is also about moving towards a form of secularism that is a separation of religion from state, which allows both people who hold profound religious beliefs and who want to enable themselves to be able to practice their religions and so on, not to face discrimination on the ground of their belief.